The hare and the tortoise. Have you ever felt like the world is racing ahead while you're barely keeping up? What if the secret to winning isn't speed at all, but something much quieter? This classic tale from Aesop has been told for thousands of years, yet it still feels fresh today because it teaches one powerful truth that many people forget. Let's dive into the story of the overconfident hare and the determined tortoise, and discover why slow and steady really does win the race. One sunny day in a peaceful meadow, a young hare was hopping around, full of energy and pride. He loved showing off how fast he could run. His strong legs carried him in giant leaps, and he could cross the field in seconds. As he zoomed past his friends, he noticed an old tortoise slowly making his way through the grass. The tortoise moved so carefully, one tiny step at a time, that the hare couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Hey, slowpoke," the hare called out with a big grin. "Look at you crawling along like that. You'll never get anywhere at that speed. I bet I could run to the end of the world and back before you even reach that tree over there." The other animals nearby chuckled at the joke, but the tortoise didn't seem upset. He just kept moving forward at his own calm pace. After a moment, the tortoise stopped and turned his head toward the hare. In his steady, quiet voice, he replied, "You may be fast, my friend, but speed isn't everything. Wait a bit. I'll run a race with you, and I wager that I will win." The hare's eyes widened in surprise, and then he burst into loud laughter. The idea seemed ridiculous. A race against a tortoise? This was going to be the easiest win of his life. "Oh, well," the hare said, still amused, "let's try it and see. This should be fun." The other animals gathered around, excited by the challenge. They quickly agreed that the clever fox would set the course and act as the judge to make sure everything was fair. The fox marked out a clear path through the meadow, over a small hill, and all the way to a tall oak tree in the distance. That would be the finish line. On the day of the race, a crowd of birds, rabbits, squirrels, and other creatures lined up to watch. The sun was shining brightly, and the air felt full of energy. The hare stood at the starting line, stretching his powerful legs and bouncing with confidence. The tortoise, on the other hand, simply positioned himself calmly beside him, looking focused and ready. The fox raised his paw and shouted, "Ready, set, go." Both animals started at the same time. In just a few seconds, the hare shot forward like an arrow. His legs moved so quickly that the grass seemed to blur beneath him. He left the tortoise far behind in a cloud of dust. Within minutes, the hare had already reached the halfway point. He glanced back and could barely see the tortoise, who was still plodding along slowly but surely. Feeling completely sure of his victory, the hare decided to take it easy. "Why rush?" he thought to himself. "That tortoise is so far behind he'll never catch up. I have plenty of time for a quick nap." So he found a soft, shady spot under a bush, stretched out his long ears, and closed his eyes. Soon, the hare was fast asleep, dreaming about crossing the finish line first while everyone cheered his name. Meanwhile, the tortoise never stopped. He kept moving forward, one steady step after another. His short legs worked hard, but he didn't complain or look around. He didn't worry about how far he still had to go. He simply focused on the next step and then the one after that. The sun climbed higher in the sky, and the crowd watched in amazement as the tortoise passed the halfway point without slowing down even once. Time passed. The hare slept deeply, snoring softly in the warm afternoon light. He had no idea that the tortoise was getting closer and closer to the goal. The tortoise's shell gleamed in the sunlight as he pushed on through the tall grass and up the gentle hill. Every movement was slow, but each one brought him nearer to victory. He didn't waste energy on bragging or showing off. He just kept going. Finally, the tortoise reached the tall oak tree. He touched the finish line with his nose and let out a small sigh of relief. The crowd cheered loudly. "The tortoise has won," the fox announced with surprise in his voice. The news spread quickly through the meadow. At that exact moment, the hare woke up with a sudden start. He blinked his eyes and looked around, realizing how much time had passed. "Oh no," he thought in panic. He jumped to his feet and dashed off at his fastest speed yet. His ears flew back and his legs pumped furiously as he raced toward the oak tree. But it was too late. When he arrived, breathing hard and covered in sweat, he saw the tortoise already resting calmly at the finish line. The hare couldn't believe it. He had been so sure he would win. How could this have happened? The crowd was still cheering for the tortoise, and the fox walked over to declare the winner officially. The hare stood there, shocked and embarrassed, while the tortoise smiled quietly. From that day on, the animals remembered the race and the important lesson it taught. The hare learned that being fast isn't enough if you don't stay focused and keep working until the end. The tortoise showed everyone that patience, consistency, and determination can overcome even the biggest speed advantage. And so, the story reminds us all, slow and steady wins the race. But let's think about what this really means for our own lives today. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to feel like the hare. We see people succeeding quickly on social media, getting promotions overnight, or achieving big goals in record time. It can make us want to rush everything, to take shortcuts, or to give up when things feel too slow. Yet the tortoise teaches us something different. Success often comes to those who keep showing up, day after day, even when progress feels tiny. Think about learning a new language. You might practice for months without feeling much better, but if you stay consistent, one day you'll suddenly understand conversations you couldn't before. Or building a business. Many entrepreneurs fail because they chase quick wins instead of putting in steady work over time. The hare's mistake was overconfidence. He assumed his natural talent was enough, so he stopped trying. How many times have we done the same? Maybe you start a fitness journey full of energy, but after a few good weeks, you skip a few days and then lose motivation completely. The tortoise would tell you to just keep moving, even if it's slow. One workout is better than none. This fable also shows the power of humility. The tortoise didn't argue or get angry when the hare made fun of him. He simply accepted the challenge and proved his point through action, not words. In real life, quiet confidence often beats loud bragging. People who stay humble and focused tend to achieve more in the long run because they're not distracted by ego. Another beautiful part of the story is how the tortoise never looked at the hare's progress. He didn't compare himself or feel discouraged. He just minded his own path. That's a great reminder for us in the age of constant comparison. Scrolling through others' highlight reels can make our own journey feel too slow. But remember, everyone's race is different. Your only job is to keep going at your own steady pace. Parents often share this tale with their children to teach perseverance. Teachers use it in classrooms to encourage students who struggle with difficult subjects. Even adults going through tough times find comfort in the message. Life isn't always a sprint. Sometimes it's a long, steady walk, and that's perfectly okay. Of course, the story doesn't mean speed is always bad. There are moments when quick action is necessary, like in emergencies or when opportunities appear suddenly. The real wisdom is knowing when to use speed and when to rely on endurance. The best winners combine both. They move fast when needed, but never lose their steady rhythm. Imagine applying this to your goals right now. What dream have you been putting off because it feels overwhelming? Maybe writing a book, learning to play guitar, or saving money for a big trip. Instead of trying to do everything at once and burning out like the hare, try the tortoise way. Break it into small, daily steps. Write 1 paragraph a day. Practice chords for 10 minutes. Save a small amount each week. Over time, those small steps add up to something amazing. The animals in the meadow learned something valuable that day. They saw that talent alone isn't enough without effort. They understood that rest is important, but only after you've given your best. And most of all, they realized that true winners don't always look flashy or fast. Sometimes the quiet ones, the steady ones, cross the finish line first. So the next time you feel tempted to quit because progress seems too slow, remember the tortoise. Picture him moving calmly across the meadow, never stopping, never doubting. Let that image motivate you. Slow and steady isn't just a nice saying. It's a proven strategy for winning races that truly matter. Thousands of years after Aesop first told this story, it still rings true. In a world obsessed with instant results, the tortoise's victory feels like a quiet rebellion. It whispers that patience is powerful, consistency is key, and determination can beat even the fastest competitor. What about you? Have you ever been the hare, rushing ahead only to fall behind later? Or have you felt like the tortoise, working quietly while others zoomed past? If you enjoyed this story and the lessons it brings, hit that like button and subscribe for more timeless tales with modern wisdom. And remember, no matter how slow your steps feel today, keep moving forward. Because in the end, slow and steady wins the race.